22. Kyrie and the Turks. Reno was struggling to place a curved metal plate over the skeleton of the monument, muttering curses that would shock a sailor, until he finally abandoned the attempt, hurling the piece of steel at the ground with an ear-shattering clang. "Piece of shit's the wrong size," he yelled, to no one in particular, then looked up to see Rude crouched by Evan's car and examining the rear wheel. "What's up?" "The lug nuts are loose," said Rude. "Maybe I should fix them." This was an interesting turn of events, considering Rude had seemed not too pleased with Evan. Reno walked over to his partner, offering a wrench. "Will this work?" "Yeah," Rude said, as he took it and started tightening the nuts. "That's awful sweet of you," Reno remarked. "Look, I noticed. Which now means if the kid loses a wheel and dies, I'm not going to end up losing sleep." "Guess that makes sense." "You know, Rude stood up and went to the other side of the car to continue. "Hey, finish your sentence, would you? He's not the best at staying out of danger." "Huh?" grunted Reno. But then he knew Rude was right. Evan was one of those types who wasn't quite grounded in reality, but was full of bravado, a show-off, a scared kid determined to buck people's expectations by pretending he had no fear. And if he kept it up, he was going to do something stupid enough to get himself killed. Both Reno and Rude had known too many kids like that, from rookie Turks to infantrymen to soldier operatives, wet behind the ears from the Mako infusion tanks. "Yeah, he's got time to grow out of it," said Reno. "I bet we used to be like that too." "Don't remember. But that girl." "Kyrie? Yeah, she's not helping his survival efforts." Was kind of thinking the same thing. Not that Kyrie was a bad person, but she did have a habit of poking a hornet's nest without knowing what they were. A magnet for problems, and Evan probably invested too much effort in hiding his weaknesses from her. He'd drive himself into an inescapable corner. A girl like that was a dangerous handful for a boy who was too insecure to know where to draw the line. "But he's the boss's brother," said Reno. "We can't just leave him to be a dumbass." In lieu of a reply, Rude kept tightening the lug nuts. "I think we can," he said eventually. "I don't want to be involved with these kids anymore." You might not have a choice," Reno had spotted Kyrie coming towards them from across the plaza. "Sure I do. Have fun." Rude promptly returned to his work on the monument. "Hey." "Hello, Reno," Rude said Kyrie. "We're not the same two-headed beast, okay?" Reno groused. "What have you done with Evan? Do you have him tied up somewhere because he refused to be Rufus's decoy? Are you going to make him pay for threatening your boss? What are you talking about? Something's up with him, and I figured Shinra had to be involved, unless you could think of someone else to blame, which I can't." "What do you mean, something's up?" Nothing had seemed particularly wrong with Evan when he left his car with them, Reno thought. "As in, he's gone," Kyrie said it with an accusation. "I'm pretty sure he'll be back soon. See, his car's right here. We're watching it for him." Kyrie glared at the car like it was her sworn enemy, then yanked the door open and climbed in. "Hey!" Reno protested. I'm going to wait right here. If he doesn't come back, then I'll drive this thing straight into your stupid monument." 23. Leslie and Merle. I meandered the maze of streets in the slums, feeling like a bird separated from the flock. I'd meant to find Leslie's house. I'd been there 2 or 3 times before, but not on my own, and I wasn't sure I could describe my destination properly if I had to ask someone for directions. Just as it occurred to me that I should probably go back to Edge and try again from somewhere I knew, I finally spotted this place. One of a cluster of 10 or so shacks that all faced the same directions. I knocked on the door. "Hey, it's Evan," I said. She remembered, and then I remembered that Leslie wasn't the only one who lived here. "Evan Townsend. I work with Leslie." The door quickly opened. "Hi, nice to meet you," a short girl with a fluffy bob greeted me, smiling warmly. "I'm Merle." "Nice to meet you too. Is Leslie around?" "Oh, and congratulations." "Thank you. Come on, he's inside." I followed Merle into the house, which was slightly more spacious than mine, although it had to feel cramped with 2 people. New-looking wallpaper was decorated with an uncomfortable number of flowers, while the soft cushions of lacy decor made Leslie looked comically out of place. "Hey, Evan." He was reclined on the bed with a book. He sat up to nudge a chair beside the bed toward me, and I gratefully took the seat. "Hi," I said. "Alone today?" "Yep, I got pretty lost on the way here." "You need to get a map or something. So, what's up? Is it work?" "Nah, more of a personal visit." "Well, we appreciate you coming all the way out here," said Merle, pouring hot water into a flowery teacup. From behind the cup, her belly caught my eye. The baby was growing in there, the miracle of life indeed. Merle seemed to me like an otherworldly being. She noticed my stare. "I'm not showing already, am I?" "Oh no," I sipped the hot water, trying to recover from the faux pas. "It was just water, but the perfect temperature for a day like today. This is nice. How long do you heat it?" It was a stupid habit of mine, getting all awkward and then disassembling by asking questions I didn't care about. "Well, it depends on the amount of water and what the kettle's made of and how big it is, but I boil it first, then wait about 8 minutes. But you won't ever have to do that yourself, will you? I'll show Kyrie instead." Merle gave me a knowing nod. "Kyrie won't either," Leslie piped up. "She's afraid of fire, a bit more than common sense would dictate." Leslie knew Kyrie much better than I did. Merle was taken aback. "So, she never cooks? A traumatic association is what they call it." "I didn't know she hated fire," I said. "Well, keep pretending you don't," said Leslie. As if he was responsible for Kyrie's welfare. "And I don't talk to her about it unless she brings it up herself." "Don't worry, I'm not in the habit of asking people weird personal questions," I said defensively. The truth was, I probably wouldn't have a chance to ask her. I thought the last time Kyrie and I talked, it felt like it had ended before anything else began. No, something had begun. I'd just ruined it. "Are you sure?" said Leslie. "Because I've seen..." Leslie, I wanted to avoid the subject for now. "Actually, the thing is, I need to find a guy called Don Corneo. Can you help me?" Merle's smile vanished from her face. "Why don't we step outside?" Leslie said, his voice low and flat. 24. Kyrie goes to lunch. "You better keep your eyes open." With that, Kyrie slammed the car door shut as hard as she could. "Why don't you just go home?" said Reno. "When he shows up, we'll tell him you want to see him." "That won't work. He won't come to me." Wow, Reno thought as he watched Kyrie walk away. Here he was, a veteran Turk, somehow finding himself in the middle of a lover's spat between a pair of teenagers. He couldn't help but laugh. Now what? Rude stepped closer from his vantage point. Apparently he'd been watching the whole time. He was pretending he didn't care, but inwardly, Reno was convinced. Rude was intrigued by every act of the farce, which only had made the thing funnier. She said she's hungry, said Reno. "So she's gonna grab something to eat." "It's like she's never heard of the Turks. It's almost refreshing," Rude remarked. "So this is what happens when Shinra wins hearts and minds," Reno chuckled again, but then remembered that the girl was still afraid of them. He'd seen the goosebumps on her arms. Her toothless threats were her way of gauging the danger he and Rude presented. Evan might trust them, but not Kyrie. Despite what Rude said, she knew what they were and what they were capable of. "You know," said Rude, "she reminds me of Aerith." "Yeah, I was thinking that too. Maybe helping them out will redeem us. At least a little bit," he thought. A guy can hope. 25. Meeting with a complete scumbag. Following Leslie's directions, I headed toward Midgar's central pillar. Just look up and follow the beams and wiring the underside of the plate, and I'll give you a rough idea where to go. Don't try to memorize the route. This advice on navigating the slums was nothing short of revolutionary to me. When I asked why no one had told me before, Leslie retorted that it was common sense. Finally, I was directly below where I'd grown up in Sector 6. There was a huge concrete wall there, which meant this had to be Wall Market, the red light district of the slums. I'd heard as well as the place where just about anything can be found for the right price. I'd actually tried to find it on my own before going to see Leslie, but kept getting lost. Anyone who lived in the area would have to know where it was, so more than once I thought about just asking a local instead of Leslie. But approaching random people in the slums was always a sketchy proposition. I kept thinking I'd be led down a dark alley and murdered, especially now that I actually had serious cash on me. Of course, I hid my fear in front of Leslie, so he wouldn't know how frightened this place made me. But in the end, he had too much other stuff on his mind to be assessing my level of chicken shitness. He'd walked me about halfway and left me without a warning. Actually, more like an admonishment, I guess. Listen, Evan, don't ever mention Corneo in front of Merle again, okay? He'd already told me Don Corneo was in charge of Wall Market, the big boss more or less. Okay, I said, but why not? If you're my friend, you won't ask me that. Got it? Got it. Then Leslie went home without ever asking why I wanted to see Corneo. Despite the moniker, Wall Market, my destination, had none of the lively hustle and bustle of a marketplace. Instead, it felt stagnant, decaying, and as still as a graveyard. People were hunched down here and there. I tried to avoid their gazes as I headed for Corneo's place, at the back of the market. It was right where Leslie said it would be, bigger and more extravagant than its surroundings, but faded like artificial flowers from another decade. It was a sorry sight. I stood at the front door and rang the buzzer. Hello? Who's there? A deep-voiced man growled from inside. Cloud from the delivery service told me to come. I heard the man walking away from the door. Maybe he was going to fetch someone more important. At ease, I looked around again and saw several pairs of dull, gloomy eyes watching me. Or maybe they weren't looking at me. I couldn't tell. Finally, the door opened, revealing a large man with a precisely parted hair and a piercing stare. A vivid scar crossed over his cheek. I couldn't meet his eyes. Come in, he said curtly. Thanks. I'll follow him inside. Thanks, I followed him inside. The first unpleasant thing I noticed was the smell. Some sick, sweet fragrance that filled my nose and mouth and lungs. The decor in the hall was as worn as the house's exterior, with exposed plaster behind peeling wallpaper. Could I really buy fuel in this dump? Why was I trusting the delivery guy in the first place? Was any of this a good idea? Damn, maybe I should just make up some excuse and leave. Then it struck me. I could have just asked Reno where to get fuel when I dropped off the car. Even if he couldn't help me, at least I'd have explored all my options first. Coming straight here was not only foolhardy, it was wrong. And I was about to pay the price. I wanted to run. Had to get out. Yeah, time to go, I thought. Just when we reached the door at the end of the hallway. Don't piss him off, he said, opening the door without knocking. I hesitated, so he gave me a shove, and I stumbled into the room. There was no one in there. So I stood in the doorway and looked around. It was a seriously weird room. Kinda small and mostly taken up by an oversized circular bed. Photos covered the wall. They all seemed to be of women, ranging from girls in their early teens to practically grandmothers. Suddenly, a breathy, fatuous laugh came from the other side of the partition, behind the bed, followed by a metallic creak. A squat old man appeared in a wheelchair, his flashy red suit contrasting sharply with his unremarkable features. So, Cloud sent you, did he? He said in a squeaky voice. Don Corneo, I presumed. A significantly receding hairline crowned his creased face. His eyes, however, glinted and gleamed. Nothing like the dead gazes I'd seen outside. Maybe he wasn't all that old after all. Yes, I replied. And you are? I said nothing. This is where you tell me your name. Evan Townsend. Why couldn't I manage to lie at a time like this? Aha! I'll remember that, said Corneo. Evan Townsend. A chill went down my spine. I wanted to get this over with and get out of here. Hell, I might book it before it was over. But Corneo seemed distracted, looking thoughtfully at the wall. Cloud. Meeting him was the beginning of my downfall. He was focused on one particular photo. I followed his line of sight. Huh? The shot showed 3 people. One of them was Seventh Heaven's Tifa, which was surprising enough. But the one in the center was clearly Cloud dressed as a woman. I quickly looked away, feeling I'd seen something I shouldn't have. So, young man, what do you want? Corneo prompted. I'm going on a very long road trip and I need fuel. Can I get some? Can you get some? You think this old man just hands it out like it's a charity? No, that's not what I... Listen, Evan. Don't judge people by their appearance. That's a fundamental rule of life, but easy to forget. Take it from me. Looking down on everyone could lead to a monumental screw-ups. He turned back to the picture on the wall. You probably think I'm some roomy-eyed old fool, but I'm younger than you think. Sure, I'm no spring chicken, and I can't do things the way I used to, but I've still got assets. Corneo raised a hand to the heavily decorated rings and gestured proudly to all the photos. As long as I have these, I can get what I need and keep people quiet. I immediately grasped what he meant. This guy is a complete scumbag. Most people, anyway, he added, but not Little Miss Cloud. He has me fix things like I'm his own personal handyman. It's really something, he shrugged. But you were here about fuel. Be at the south end of Edge's main avenue at dawn tomorrow. I'll have it brought there. Does that work for you? Sure, I said. I'll pay when I see it. I don't want your money. Just let Cloud know it was on me. I'd rather pay. Don't you want to accept a favor? Suit yourself. How much? How much? Everything you have. All or nothing. Quite a choice, eh? But I've got time, so give it some thought. By the way, Evan, Corneo squinted at me, are you related to the Shinras? I felt my pulse spike. Some people think I look like Doofus. No relation, though. I see. Then, have we met before? No. He made that repulsive laughing sound again. So, that's it. Wait, just a minute. The wheelchair creaked as Corneo disappeared behind the partition again. I inched closer to the photo with Tifa, and with the one eye on the partition, took it down. I couldn't just leave it there. Then I ran my eye over the rest. Hundreds of pictures of women, some dressed to the nines and some barely dressed at all. I recalled the instant Merle's smile had vanished, and the look Leslie had given me when I mentioned Corneo's name. I found it near a corner. The girl in the picture was slenderer than she was now, but it was definitely her. I slipped the photo of Merle into my pocket. Found it, Corneo crowed. By the way, by the time he reappeared, I was examining the wall of photos with perfectly innocent curiosity. I know it's in here. He flipped through the massive photo album on his lap. Finally, he took out a small one and held it up to me. This is you, isn't it? It sure was. Glowering in a ridiculous party hat on my 15th birthday. My mom thought it was hilarious when she took it, and she liked it so much she kept it in her wallet. Oh, or so I thought. How had Corneo gotten a hold of it? He didn't. Furiously, I scanned the walls again. Was my mother here somewhere? Oh no, it's not like that, Corneo said. This picture was on a bulletin board at the station. I have my men pick up things like that. Information on missing persons used to be worth good money. Until about a year ago. See? There's contact information on the back here. Maybe they were looking for you. Who was looking for me? $5,000. Well, let's make it 1 since Cloud sent you. Annette Townsend? Bzzzt, too bad. You're out of hints. 1,000 gil will buy you the right answer. And that's a bargain. Do you know what you did? Some people couldn't find their families because you took those pictures. Don't you see that? Sure, but what's it to you? You're the worst kind of asshole. Aw, Evan, you've seen right through my good guy facade. Color me impressed. I shifted my shoulder bag around to the front and rummaged for cash. My fingers brushed Rufus Shimmer's pistol. What to pull, gun or money? Oh, Evan, said Corneo. I looked up and found myself staring down at the barrel of a big gun with a round magazine. Where did that come from? If anything other than money comes out of that bag, you're dead. I wasn't sure he would really shoot me, but I wasn't about to risk dying at the hands of a piece of shit like Corneo. My hand found the paper bag and grabbed the money. I tossed it on the bed, then snatched the picture from his hand. Pleasure doing business with you, Corneo said with a nasty grin. I'll send along the fuel. I'm a man of my word. He says with a gun trained on me, I thought. But now I just wanted to get the hell out. By the way, kid, You can have as many pictures as you want. I've got plenty of copies. I left the room, mentally cursing my own recklessness, and didn't stop until I was outside, gulping oxygen. It was better than the stifling atmosphere of the mansion. But the murky air didn't improve my spirits. I needed to put more distance between the place and me. So I exited Wall Market without a single look back. I took the photos out of my bag and examined the one with Cloud first. What were Cloud and Tifa doing? And who was the other person? I turned over the picture. It was labeled Cloud, Tifa, Aerith. Aerith? So this was Aerith, the Ancient. The one who knew Kyrie's parents were dead. The one who got abducted by Shinra. The one who had later died. The one, apparently, who had some connection to Tifa and Cloud. It's just complicated. Tifa's conflicted smile came to mind. I tore the photo into tiny pieces and sprinkled them in the gutter. If you're my friend, you won't ask me that. Recalling Leslie's words, I gave the picture of Merle the same treatment, shredding and disposing of it. That left the picture of me. I looked at the back to find Nick Foley's name and my old phone number. If he'd put this up on a bulletin board around here, he must have guessed I'd already gone down to the slums, and then when he climbed up topside, he'd make it to Mr. Arade's doorstep with the last of his strength. If I had spotted the picture of me on the bulletin board, I might have been able to find him, even if the geostigma had him at death's door by then. Maybe I could have talked to him one last time. I might have been able to find out where my mother was. But that rat bastard in the perfume mansion had robbed me of that chance. 26. A score not quite settled. I stood outside Leslie's place. What should I tell him? How could I tell him? I realized I was thinking more about how to protect myself than what he needed to hear. Just like usual, I was going about things ass backward. Hey, it's Evan, I announced, knocking on the door. Sorry to bother you again. Coming, Leslie called, and then appeared a few seconds later. Merle isn't feeling good. Morning sickness. You know how it goes. Yeah, sure. So, did you make it to Wall Market? Yeah, and I saw Corneo. You did? When I was in there, I found this picture of Merle, Leslie glared at me. I nabbed it and ripped it up, threw it away. You crazy son of a... He broke into a smile. No, wait, don't thank me yet, I thought impatiently, but Corneo noticed and he told me he had copies of all the photos. So I thought, now I'm worried. If he noticed that the one was missing from the wall was her, maybe I've just caused trouble for you two. Leslie punched me in the chest, twice but not very hard, then took my hands. You have such a thick-headed sense of right and wrong, he said. I like that about you. So much it eclipses any other good points you might have. When Kyrie introduced me to you, about 2 years ago, I saw a whiny topsider brat pretending to be a grown man. I thought for a second, there you were, leading up... I thought for a second, there you were, leading up to a compliment. But then I got to know you, and you had better conscience than the rest of us. Kyrie has changed thanks to you. Did you know that? She made a decision to lead a more honest life by following your lead. Same with me. I've done my share of dirty work. I used to work for Corneo, you know, but I saw Kyrie changing, and I thought, I can't keep living like this either. Fabio, too, as far as I know. He's been out of the thieving business for a while. Well, aside from the whole episode with Shinra Medicine. I didn't realize, I said. Of course you didn't. You never notice anything, because you're only ever thinking about yourself, right? You only figure things out later. Like what you did today, causing trouble by trying to help. I'm really sorry. If you need to hide out, you can use my place. I've got the key here. I started rummaging in my bag for my house key, but Leslie stopped me. It's okay. If there's trouble, I'm going to handle it. I was thinking I'd have to settle the score with this guy someday. I've been putting it off, but not anymore. I've got you to thank for that, Evan. He started to go inside, and then paused and turned back to me. Hey, wait a sec. Where are you going to be, if not at your place? I'm going on a trip. I've got a car, and I went to Corneo for fuel. Yeah? Leslie gave me an intrigued look. I'll be gone a while. Don't do anything too crazy, Evan. With that, he went inside. I felt like there was more that I had to tell him, but it was probably all just things I wanted to get off my chest. Nothing that would actually matter to him. I headed back to Edge. One more stop. 27. Project Launch. Reno was checking out the monument work schedule and trying to eavesdrop on Rude's call with their boss when the middle-aged man came up to him. Reno? Huh? The man looked around uncomfortably. I'm Doyle, he said, wrinkles appearing between his thick eyebrows. Oh yeah, the head man, right? That's what they call me. Anyway, we want to join the crew tomorrow, like we promised Keo. Throp and me. Fabio didn't do much yet. He needs more time to recover. Awesome! Welcome aboard! So, have you guys got any special skills? We're really looking for people who can... Hey, are you listening? Is that... Doyle was staring at the car parked beside the monument. Evan left it here, said Reno. Asked us to watch it for a bit. So he was here? Yup. What's the kid up to? No idea, but he probably thinks he's acing whatever it is. Yeah, I know what you mean, said Doyle. You get him, don't you? Reno snorted. I know his type. They agreed on an assignment for the next day, and then Doyle went to take a look at the car, which now effectively belonged to Evan. Reno returned his attention to the clipboard. Hey, partner. Rude was coming his way, tucking his phone into his jacket. I'm going up to Midgar. Problem with the chopper. Midgar? Reno automatically glanced at the abandoned city. The chopper? Song and Elena are on their way. What do they need the chopper for? Dunno. I'm tired of being out of the loop. Anyway, I gotta go. Wait, take me with you. 28. Kyrie's counterattack. I said goodbye to Leslie, and by the time I made it back to 7th Heaven, it was already getting dark. This would be the first time I visited the place twice in one day. Welcome, Tifa called out absent-mindedly, then realized it was me. She looked surprised for a moment, and then broke into a laugh. I wanted to tell you something, I said, as I slid into the seat at the end of the bar. You're giving up on Nibelheim? No, not about that. Something heavy? Yeah, the thing is, I gave an abbreviated version of what I told Leslie. Don Corneo has all these photos he uses for blackmail material, and I saw you in one of them. I ripped it up, but he said he has copies, and... Wait, slow down, Tifa protested. Corneo's alive? Yeah, he's alive. You thought otherwise? It's a long story, and I don't even know all of it. Anyway, Corneo had a picture of me? Yes, you and someone named Aerith and, of course, Cloud. I don't know how to, he was in a dress. Oh, that. I guess there was a hidden camera. Yeah, it did seem like there was that kind of shot. So you know Cloud? Well, barely. We couldn't have talked for more than 3 minutes. Not bad. Most people don't get to have one with him, even get 1 minute with him. Her mood had improved considerably, and then she thought of more questions for me. Have you met Aerith too? No, I only knew who it was because the names were on the back of the photo. Right, that makes sense. Was she a friend of yours? Yes. Wait, no. Friend doesn't do her justice. Oh? My non-insignificant curiosity about Aerith was piqued even further, but I hesitated to pepper Tifa with questions about a dead friend. Besides, I still hadn't said what I'd come to tell her. Anyway, I started worrying and then that grabbing the picture might cause trouble for you. So I wanted to warn you because I'm thinking now I shouldn't have taken it. Evan, Tifa fixed a serious look on me. I lowered my eyes in shame, but then I realized I was staring at her chest, so I looked up fast. You're a good guy. No, I'm not. Why are you playing tough? I'm not playing anything. Tifa laughed again. Well, I better go. Don't worry about Corneo, said Tifa. I'll be fine, and I've got Cloud too. She sounded confident. I realized that the web of relationships woven around her was probably more complex than I could imagine. By the way, have you told Kyrie about all this? She asked. My mouth fell open. She was sitting right there. Just a little while ago, had a big lunch with all the fixings. You didn't tell her I was going to Nibelheim, did you? Tifa blinked at me in surprise. Oops, was that a secret? I nodded faintly. Sorry. No, it's okay, I mumbled. As I did, my stomach started growling. furiously, and it occurred to me that I hadn't eaten the proper meal in days. "Let me fix you something in return," said Tifa, "on the house, so you can fill up before you go." Still apologetic, Tifa moved a skillet onto the stove. Still patting my bulging belly, I arrived at the plaza and found Kyrie staring holes in the distant horizon from the driver's seat of the car. Nothing in front of her merited the intense gaze. She was somewhere far away, deep in thought. Maybe she was mulling over what to say to me in light of what she's learned from Tifa. I arrived at the car before I had even come up with any palatable responses, let alone chosen one. But that was okay. Maybe she was about to chew me out. But at least she was here, waiting for me. I felt like dancing. All the back and forth, the second guessing, none of it mattered now. "Hey," I said. Kyrie gave me a brief glare before hopping out of the car. She wore her usual sleeveless leather jacket and jean shorts, and sturdy boots. And she had that function over form backpack in hand. In fact, she looked outfitted for a journey. With her hands on her hips, she wasn't going to take no for an answer. "Let's go," she ordered, as she circled around to the passenger seat. "Okay," I obeyed and took the driver's seat. "The Turks are gone?" They said something came up." "Really?" Really. Kyrie twisted and leaned towards the back seat. I turned to see a large khaki bag, stuffed so full that I was immediately dying to know what was inside. She set her backpack on top of it and reached into the pocket of the cloth bag. "From the Turks," she said, handing me a pair of motorbike goggles. "That was nice of them. Really nice. If you wear them too long, you'll get dents around your eyes, though." Kyrie put on her own pair. "You got a pair too? I'll need them, won't I? Come on, start her up." She was the captain of the ship now, and I've never been good at gauging the distance between us in our relationship, but suddenly, everything seemed clear. It was like we'd slotted into our respective places. All that confusion was gone. I started the car and drove it slowly to the main avenue, then took it all the way down to the southern end. The goggles kept the wind from stinging our eyes, but dirt and debris occasionally hit us in the face, so I still had to keep the speed low. At length, Kyrie ducked into the back seat again and started digging through the bag. When she returned from the excavation, she had tugged on a knitted hat appropriate for a snowy mountain and tied a handkerchief with a big floral pattern around the lower half of her face. "Now step on it," I obeyed her muffled commands. She said something else, but with her mouth covered from the wind in my ears, I didn't catch it. I cupped my hand to my ear, indicating I couldn't hear. She lifted the handkerchief. "This feels great." Pebbles and gravel still stung my cheeks, but I couldn't complain when Kyrie's spirits were so high. I leaned on the accelerator as hard as I dared. The engine growled, and the car sped up. Or it should have. Instead of a growl, the engine gave a pathetic cough and then abruptly failed. As the car lost the last of its momentum and rolled to a stop, I saw the needle pointing to the dreaded empty on the fuel gauge. Kyrie crossed her arms, downcast. "Do you have more fuel?" "It's getting delivered to me at dawn, at the south end of this road." Thinking back on what had gone down with Corneo, I was seriously doubting that the fuel would even show up. But I could worry about that tomorrow. Kyrie was here with me now. "That's a ways away, in time and distance. What are we gonna do?" "Dunno. Any ideas?" "We'll have to push the car, right? And then I guess we'll sleep and wait." "Right. I'll push," I said. "You stay inside and steer." "Okay." I got out and made sure Kyrie was in the driver's seat before planting my palms on the rear and pushing it as hard as I could. It didn't budge at all, at least not as far as I could tell. I turned around and leaned back, using my legs, digging in with my heels. This won't work either, I thought, throwing my weight into it anyway. But then the car lurched forward, and so suddenly that I almost ended up on my ass. I managed to right myself and faced again to push it with my arms. Now that it was rolling, it was easier than I expected. "So, your mom isn't dead," Kyrie shouted from inside the car. "Tifa told me she's just missing, and that she might be in Nibelheim." "Yeah, that's right." The car started to swerve. "Kyrie, the wheel!" I looked through the rear window as I pushed. She was jerking the wheel right and left. "This is how I feel, you know. It's harder to push if you do that." Of course it is. Come on, don't you get it? First of all, that really hurt, what you said on the way back from healing. But I know why you said it. It's my fault, too. No, it wasn't. That was just me shooting myself in the foot. That crap in the clinic, though, that wasn't okay. Not okay, Evan. I hate being tested like that. You hear me? You're right. It wasn't okay. And you've been even worse since you disappeared. You've been lying about everything, but not apparently to Tifa. You know, Evan, I wanted you to like me. I've been trying really hard. I stopped doing bad stuff. I broke things off with my old crew. I didn't know. I'm tired. The swerving stopped. Apparently, she meant tired of jerking the wheel around, not the whole trying thing. What was I saying? Oh, right. I grew up in a family of con artists from the slums. For me, the line between right and wrong was always blurry. When I could see it at all. You hate people like that, don't you? What? No, not really. I could tell you were stepping out of your comfort zone, so we could take it seriously, and you were trying to be mean and intimidating because you didn't know anything about the slums. But that's not the real you. I always knew that. You're a nice guy, and you don't want to do bad things. Does anyone actually like being called a nice guy? And why was everyone so hell-bent on telling me about the real me anyway? Just let me be. I guess we're both trying to impress each other, I said. What, you think we're even? That's not what I meant. Yes, it was. You always do that. Whenever you don't get a response that you want, you just say you didn't mean it. And even when you keep your mouth shut, you're still thinking it. If that's what you believe, it doesn't matter what I say. Of course I was getting upset. What am I supposed to do? I could say the same to you. Kyrie fell silent as I kept pushing the car. 29. Reno and Rude get wound up. No one knew exactly how many helicopters that the Shinra company used to have. Within half a year of Meteorfall, many of them had been looted. Accidents, mechanicals, and other circumstances had taken out others. And now Rufus Shinra and the Turks were left with only 3. But even with so few, it was a constant battle to keep them in working order. One was stowed near Helan, and the other 2 were in Midgar, where a Sector 8 warehouse had collapsed from the roof and served as a hidden hangar. The starter's busted. Rude wiped his oily hands on the rag. I installed Unit 2 starter for now. So, when will Unit 2 be operational again? Said Sang. Can't say. I'll have to take apart the broken starter first and see. Then you better get to it. The edge of Sang's mouth curled slightly. Sir, why are you smirking? Just thinking about the sooner you fix it, the sooner we get to fly out. Fly out where? Rude wanted to know. Feels like you're keeping something from us. We're going to find Genova, Sang said. Reno and Rude exchanged a glance. Now that's a mission, Reno blurted. Elena and I will be meeting our scattered comrades first, Sang added. They've been gathering intelligence. Elena looked away, somewhat guiltily. Come on, you've got to let us go too, cried Reno. That's the kind of work we need. We're Turks. The Administrative Research Department. What about the monument? Said Sang. 3 more days and it'll be done. 5, Rude calmly amended. I can do it in 4, Reno insisted. See you then, Sang said. Yes, I'm out of here. Rude watched Reno dash off in his peripheral vision. Sir, what does the president want with Genova? It is Shinra's property, so the company also has the right to dispose of it. Makes sense, Rude nodded, fiddling with the broken starter. Bad news, Reno reappeared from outside, warily looking over his shoulder. I think we have an eavesdropper. I heard somebody running away. Elena made no attempt to hide her excitement. Orders, sir? Find them, Elena, but don't take too long. I want you back here in an hour, whether you catch them or not. Do I terminate? No. We'll hear what they have to say before taking any further action. Yes, sir, she said, sounding slightly displeased, before darting out. We'll be taking off once she returns, said Sang. Rude, you stay here and watch Unit 2. Got it, said Rude. Should I move in once repairs are done? Good idea, Reno. You've got a monument to finish. Ugh, fine. I get it. 30. Romantic drama and a surprise at dawn. It was almost midnight, and Kyrie stretched out on the back seat, nestled against the giant bag, but didn't seem to be asleep. You think the fuel will show up? She said, breaking the silence. That's what I was told, but I don't know for sure. What if it doesn't? I'll try something else, I guess. It might take some time, though. Well, we have to get to Nibelheim no matter how long it takes. There's Mr. Arade's case, too. I suppose you've forgotten about that, haven't you? Of course not, I said in a rush, then corrected myself. Well, maybe. Kyrie let that particular topic lie and shifted the conversation elsewhere. Why did you tell Tifa and not me? This was a more delicate subject. I could smell danger. Evan, I asked you a question. I started filtering the answers to find the best one, and then I thought, this is wrong. This is the mistake I keep making. Don't try to brag, be honest. I didn't want you to know. I was thinking about my mom so much, I said. I was embarrassed. I didn't want to tell Leslie and Fabio either, but I wanted to talk to someone. I needed to, right then, and I just couldn't keep it in. Not a very enthusiastic response. Then I understood what she expected of me to tell her. Why, Tifa? And Tifa knows who I am, but she's not involved, so I thought it's okay to tell her. But now I know I really wanted my friends to hear it, especially you, Kyrie. Well, did you ever think maybe I'd get mad if I heard it from her? Maybe I'd wonder why I wasn't good enough. You don't strike me as that type. You'd be surprised. Bowled over even. When Tifa told me she knew things I didn't know about you, I lost it. I got so angry I almost made myself sick eating. When it came to stuff like this, maybe we were a lot more alike than I'd suspected. I feel like such a little kid around Tifa, said Kyrie. I can't compare. I felt the same way about Rufus Shinra. So it's a draw? I don't know, I said. I mean, I don't think I measure up against Leslie either, or Fabio. I always feel smaller around people from the slums. We'd never talked about this before. Behind me, Kyrie sat up nimbly to look at me in the rearview mirror. Rufus, Leslie, Fabio. Those are 3 people you can't compete with. I have 2, so I win. 2 people? She only mentioned Tifa. Who? Obviously I can't compare with your mother, she added. I don't think she counts. I know, or maybe I don't. I want to understand why she doesn't count. My grandma used to tell me that the girlfriend's greatest enemy was a boy's mother. But at the same time, she can also be her greatest ally. Hey, Kyrie? What? I'm gonna come out and ask, just so we're on the same page here. Do you like me? Kyrie's face disappeared from the rearview mirror, and then the car lurched. The next instant, something massive clocked me right in the head. Probably her backpack, and knocked me into the steering wheel so hard enough to honk the horn. She put the cloth bag on the floor, stretched out across my back seat, her back to me. Tifa said you shouldn't go to Nibelheim. Yeah, I got that vibe. So I decided I wouldn't stop you. I thought we could go together, and that's why I packed all this stuff. With that, a silence settled over the car, a comfortable one. After a while, I heard her slow, even breathing as she fell asleep. I adjusted the rearview mirror so I could see into the back seat. Kyrie was defenseless. I took the gun out of my bag and geared up for a sleepless night. I did my best to stay awake, but I must have dozed off a few times. Dawn was fast approaching. Evan, you up? Asked Kyrie, still stretched out. Do you hear that? When I held my breath and listened, I heard the rumble of an engine. It was getting closer. Kyrie sat up, and I got out of the car and looked down the street. A small truck was heading toward us. Eventually, it was close enough that I could see the face of the driver. Leslie? Kyrie had seen him too. She climbed out of the car, and Leslie waved as he drove past us a bit, then stopped. He backed up the truck at an alarming speed and hit the brakes, just short of the sedan. He knew how to drive. Better make this quick. Leslie hopped out as we stood there gaping dumbly. Open the fuel cap. Where's that? I said, clueless. Out of my way. He cheerfully leaned over the driver's seat and took the key from the ignition and then went around to the back. Come here, Evan, I'll show you. Okay, I scurried to join him. On the rear right-hand side of the car, there was a keyhole. And when Leslie stuck the key in and turned it, a panel popped open. See, this is the fuel cap. I brought 4 canisters. 3 should fill the tank. And the 4th you can stash in that trunk as a spare. Maybe make sure it's got some cushioning. Instructions issued. He grabbed one of the canisters from the truck. Give me a hand? Right, I replied, feeling overwhelmed, and unloaded the remaining canisters from the truck's cargo bed. The sloshing liquid made the job harder than I thought it would have been. While I staggered around, Leslie showed Kyrie how to fill up. He'd even brought a simple pump for all of us. I caught my breath as I looked Leslie over. There were black blotches on his face that looked like soot, and his clothes were dirty too. I didn't know you were going too, Kyrie, Leslie teased. Guess I am. Kyrie stayed focused on the fuel pump. Evan, Leslie called, then went back to the truck. Following him, I glanced at Kyrie. She had paused to fan her face with her hand. I've got some stuff for you, starting with this. Leslie opened the passenger door of the truck and took out a stack of bills. They told me to tell you this was your change. Dunno what for. And he leaned into the cabin again and hoisted out 2 machine guns, fully automatic. Have too much fun with them, and you'll run out of bullets real quick. So go easy on the trigger, okay? There's 2 more, but they're for me. With the trembling hands, I took the guns. Leslie went to the cargo bed and grabbed a large wooden crate. It looked heavy. Since my hands were full of machine guns, he opened the trunk of the car and shoved in the crate himself. Ammo, loaded magazines. They're pretty easy to handle. You'll get the hang of it, although you should probably do some target practice eventually. Then he returned to Kyrie and checked on the fuel tank. I gingerly placed the weapons in the passenger seat and went to join them. Guess you guys are set. I'm off. Leslie promptly returned to the truck. Hey, wait, I started. What's this about? Just evening the score, rubbing the side of his nose. He gave me a tiny smile. Merle and I were talking yesterday after you left. I said I wanted to settle things before the baby's born, and then I went to see Corneo. Settle? You mean... No, I didn't kill him. I don't do that anymore, Leslie said, unruffled. I asked him to let me work for him, like before. Gave him a whole sob story about how I've been trying to clean up my act. But you just can't afford to go straight during times like these. He ate it right up. The sadistic asshole. Loves seeing people be miserable. So, this was my first job, delivering fuel. But you're not really going back, are you? Said Kyrie. Nope. I started a little fire on the way out. All those photos of Merle and everyone else have gone up in smoke. Kyrie was stressed, I now noticed. What about those machine guns? I said. Corneo didn't give them to you, did he? It came to me while the fire was catching. If you're gonna do a trip, you do a lot better with some proper firearms, and I figured I might as well have some. So I ducked in the back and grabbed them. Damn, Leslie. I couldn't think of anything better to say. Which means, Evan, I will be taking you up on that house sitting offer, he added. Since the situation has changed, actually, we already moved in. I had to bust the door open. Merle's waiting there now. Make yourself at home. I found the house key in my pocket and gave it to him. Thanks. Appreciate it. I'm the one who should be saying thanks. Then a thought came to me. I took the stack of bills from the car and offered it to Leslie. Here, take it. I plan to use it for fuel anyway. Thanks. That's a big help. Leslie accepted the money and shoved it in his pocket. I'll pay you back, plus rent. But other than that, we're square. If anything happens to us, don't go blaming yourself, okay? If anything happens, I repeated blankly. Look, whatever you think you're ready for, however hard you pray, shit happens. Can't dodge it all, you know. Anyway, gotta roll. Leslie wiggled his eyebrows suggestively. Have a nice trip, you two. You want to kick it? You want to kick in the junk? Oh, I better run. Still smirking, he headed back to the truck. Hold on, I called after him. This stuff with him and Merle didn't sound very settled to me. Did you see that big guy at Corneo's? He looked pretty mean. Are you sure you'll be okay? Oh, that's what the artillery's for, Leslie said without turning. If anyone comes, be ready. He climbed into the truck and started it. With a quick beep of the horn, he turned around toward Edge and drove away. He really went back to his old life, Kyrie murmured, after he worked so hard to get out. He hasn't gone back, I said. He's got Merle to protect now. Yeah, you're right, plus a baby on the way. He wouldn't do that to his family. I nodded. I wanted that to be true. The pump coughed and clunked to announce that the third canister was empty. I removed it and left it by the other two on the side of the road. Someone would probably find them useful. In the trunk, I found an old, threadbare blanket laying next to the huge crate that Leslie had loaded, and I wrapped the spare canister in that. Then, almost as an afterthought, I took the 2 magazines from the crate and slammed the trunk shut. Shall we? I said. Kyrie went around to the passenger side and opened the door, but instead of getting in, she paused and looked at me. Hey, Evan. What's this bag? She held up a large paper bag. Huh? I don't know. Take a look? She nodded curtly and peered inside, then took a slip of paper and a bundle wrapped in flowery cloth. It says thank you. The paper, she meant. She set the bundle on the roof of the car to open it, revealing a loaf of bread the size of her head. Guess it's from Merle, I said. It must be. Looks tasty. Let's save it for later. We'll find a place with a good view. She laughed at that. What's so funny? So your first plan is to find a scenic outlook and have a picnic, huh? We could eat it now if you want. Tee-hee-hee. It sounded like she was reading from a script rather than actually laughing. We've got a car and everything, like real topsider brats. Apparently she had some misconceptions about life up on the plate. Why is that so cute, I thought. Stifling an impulse to go around the car and hug her tight, I climbed into the driver's seat.